and you feel the pressure of the creditor, and you know when you leave the institution, the creditor might be across the road waiting for you, and you come for a loan, and then they tell you that you have to get credit reports, and you have to bring your salary slip, and your employment letter, and you have to be employed for a certain period of time, and then you need to have a certain amount in the savings, and you need collateral. All those things are part of the loan process. And when you're being told those things, and then you're under pressure to get that loan, it's not always going to work out well for you. So have your plan and come in comfort. And even before you take a loan, you can always approach, because we have several officers at various branches. We have 5 branches across the island. So it doesn't matter where you are on Dominica, there's a National Cooperative Credit Union branch available to you. Go in, have a discussion with an officer. And I mean, we have WhatsApp, we have Facebook. You can ask whatever question, and no question, I don't think there's anything as such as a dumb question. There's a I want to know question. So once the I want to know question, please feel free to ask it. Sit down with an officer, and the officer is going to walk you through the process.
Well, Mr. Paul, you mentioned for some members, they may be looking for a way out, probably acting in desperation. However, sometimes they may not know that they cannot afford the loan. That's where perhaps our officers step in to provide that type of financial counseling. So what role does financial counseling play in situations where a member come and they may not know that it's not a loan that they need? They may need to probably revise the way that they spend and restructure certain things in their lifestyle so that they can be able to make ends meet.
Well, most people don't realize that when I mentioned initially about the savings plan is actually a loan that you technically taking, but just that it doesn't have all the contractual obligations as a normal loan. Because if you're saving, especially we have an MRA account that is locked in until you reach the age of 60. So that is in itself almost like a loan. You put a particular amount and you won't be able to have access to it until you attain that age. So what the officer is going to do, he's going to sit you down and he's going to walk you through everything. You need, again, it goes back to my initial statement that you need to have a plan. If you don't have a plan and you want to take a loan for the sake of taking a loan, then that doesn't really make any sense. You come in, you speak to the officer and say, okay, I want to further my education. I want to build. My family has a plot of land that I want to develop and probably grow some crops. All those things are possible. That's not to say that some members come in with the ability to pay. Things are hokey-dory, things are nice, but then, as I said, we have rainy days. A member may run into difficulty. That is where the credit union even steps in and goes further and beyond. Once you experience this first level of difficulty, it's always advisable come to talk to the credit union. We can offer you grace periods. We can extend the terms of your loan. We can lower your installment. There are a variety of things that we can do to assist the member. So we don't want the member to come in when you're in trouble. But even when you get into trouble, when you're okay, we have ways to sort that out for you. But all that is important that you have a discussion with someone. So don't, if you have difficulties, sit at your home and then expect that, the credit union is going to know from mind reading that, okay, you're experiencing this problem, and then come and talk to us. It doesn't matter what it is. We're technically counselors at the NCCU, because there's no, in my many years of service at the NCCU, there's no situation that I think that is so abnormal or strange that we're not familiar with it. So whatever it is, we can come in and talk to us, and we have a loan for every purpose under the sun at the NCCU. And again, I'm shamelessly plugging all my loan products because they're my babies. So whatever your situation is, we're going to find a solution for you at the NCCU.
I'd like to rope in David here. So at the credit union, there are loan decisions that are made by the loans department, that are made by the board, and of course the credit committee. Now, David, what role does the credit committee play in the loan approval process?
Okay, our responsibilities somewhat diverse. After the underwriter has done what he or she has done, this loan comes to the committee. after going through a process. So Mr. Paul and his manager and so on will have seen the loan, and then the loan comes to the committee. The committee now analyzes the information that has been sent to us. One of the things Mr. Paul hinted is that, we guard against mistakes. A common error that we notice as a committee is that persons in their quest to access the loan, they will sometimes give information that doesn't reflect their true position. So for example, you may have a family of 5, yet still they tell you that their food bill is $100. The committee in its analysis of the information will realize in our present case that cannot be. And it goes further, because what happens is the individual may access the money, but like Mr. Paul is saying, when you do so, you put yourself in a deeper hole than you were before. So it doesn't always work. So we analyze the information sent to us, and then based on our analysis, we determine whether the person by looking at the person's ability to repay. And Mr. Paul hinted a while ago, one of our major problems is that sometimes our members take others' money, and I say others because it's really a pool of everybody's resource. They take others' money and run away with it. My granny had a volley word that she would use that to describe. She would describe that as. So really, it's technically thieving the members' money. So we analyze the loan, and based on looking at the person's ability to pay, the collateral involved, and all of those factors play a role in determining whether we can approve or not. And based on what we see, we take a decision as to whether we would approve or not approve the loan.
Okay, thank you, gentlemen. Great information here, but I would like to allow our public, our audience, to absorb what they've heard and go to a break now.
That's a lifetime investment. So when you're building, build smart, and if you're going to build big with the intention of having some sort of payback capacity from the loan. But going back to, and I said, Mokapale, I like to talk. Going back to our short-term loans, we encourage our members, there are many options available to us. If we have a loan for anything under the sun, come in and take a short-term loan to buy shoes, buy your tie, give mommy a nice gift for taking care of you and giving you lunch. I wink into my mother when I say that. Giving you lunch for all those years. So, I mean, come in and take a loan that is going to, as I said, you have a practical plan for, and that you can pay back.
Sure. Albert, you once served as the supervisor of the collections department.
Yes.
For several years. Now, NCCU's collections department manages and recovers delinquent loans because we must ensure that the institution is financially stable to be able to serve our members efficiently and effectively. Now, delinquency is a term that we usually hear during the credit union's AGM when it reports its financials to its members. But what is that, and what typically leads to delinquency? I'm sure you would have touched on it before, but let's delve deeper into this term.
Well, two things that really cause delinquency these days. Well, besides the economic situation, because I mean, because of everything happening across the globe, geopolitics, there's a lot of effects on our economy. So money may not be flowing as much or as well as it's supposed to. But even besides that, I mean, there's still a lot of activity happening. Two of the main things that I've seen over the years why persons may not pay is, one, because they took a loan that they couldn't afford, and the second thing is that they took too much. So they took money that they did not need, and then once the purpose has been satisfied, they lose interest in the loan. Again, it goes back to my initial statement that we need to have a proper plan whenever you you need to have a proper plan whenever you're taking a loan. Delinquency. Previously, the members of the times gone by, what happened is that they were very, what's the word I'm looking for? They were avid payback masters. When they took a loan, they knew that they were going to pay. They would meet you in church, they would meet you on the street, they'd meet you in the shop and say, you know what, I'm coming to pay my loan. Or here's a little something, put this on my loan for me. This person's a person that took loans and they understood their responsibility to pay back the loan. If you take a loan and you should that most important responsibility to pay back your loan, then you shouldn't have gotten the loan to begin with. So we found that over the years, a lot of loans do end up in delinquency simply because members do not honor that first responsibility to actually pay back the loan. And collections and delinquency is a very real issue at many of the financial institutions, not just at the credit union, but across the other financial institutions. And some of it might be economic strain, but a lot of it might be self-manufactured because our members may not necessarily have had a proper plan when they took a loan. And even when they run into difficulty, a lot of people, they might be ashamed, they might be afraid. They don't approach the institution to actually negotiate and discuss. Because if you have a commitment with the institution and you don't talk to the institution is not going to know what your situation is, and you're going to remain in the situation probably inevitably. Coming to the credit union, we have, as I said, several loans officers and collections officers that can actually talk to you and give you a plan of action, or we can get you back from the red into the blue status of being on a good financial health. Yeah.
Earlier on, we were talking about short-term loans, and we have a question from our virtual audience. The person is asking, what are the requirements to take a now-for-now loan, and who is eligible to take it?
All members that are employed are eligible for our now-for-now loans and our quick and our short-term loans. Once you're employed, and for certain short-term loans, you need to be employed for a certain period of time. For instance, or Get It Now series of loans, you need to be employed for at least a year to 2 years in a particular occupation before you can access those loans. Although there are loans that you can get overnight. For instance, our savings covered loans, if you have a loan that's secured by a co-maker, a title, or some other form of collateral, you can come in and you can get those loans right away. There are three important things that you need to bring in whenever you come to negotiate a loan. One, you need to bring in yourself. You pass away person to go and negotiate loan for you. So come in yourself. Two, you need your financial information, your salary slip and employment letter. And the third thing, which is very important, you need character. And character meaning that even beyond the collateral that you have, character meaning that, no, I'm going to take the people money and I'm going to pay back the people money. So those are the three things that you need. Yourself, financial information, and character. And then we can have a discussion and we can possibly do a loan for you when you come in.
So we were, before that question, we were talking about delinquency. And delinquency is a serious situation for any financial institution. Because if the financial institution cannot stay afloat, it's going to be hard to lend to members. But the gap, there must be some type of gap that has to be bridged between the credit committee and the loans department as it relates to avoiding delinquency, mitigating these types of risks, right, David?
Yeah. Well, not to preempt what he's going to say, but the credit committee is the overall approving body of the credit union. Unlike the other banks have bodies in different countries, different locales that actually approve loans. But the credit committee is a group of I think it's 13. Yes. Yeah, a group of 13 individuals, members of the organization, who have volunteered to review loan applications. And they do a very good job. So they're the credit police, if you want to. They ensure that the loan that they're going to approve and they're going to give to the member, and the member is going to get other members' money pulled together. It makes sense, really. And as I said, I don't want to preempt, but Mr. Maxime is going to give us information on the credit committee.
Yes, sure.
Yeah, adding to that, Mr. Paul hinted the fact that, he has emphasized the need for those short-term loans, because that's how you build a reputation. We observe those things. We observe your savings pattern and all of those things, and based on all of this, inform the committee as to, the character that Mr. Paul is speaking about, whether this person is somebody that we can really, quote unquote, take the chance with, because really it's a chance that we're taking to loan out the people's money to that person. And how do we assess that person? We look at the person's savings record, the person's interaction with the institution. And if there's, some persons you can't just get up like Mr. Paul was alluding to, get up and decide I'm going to take a loan, but you have no kind of track record with the institution, there's nothing, your savings is minimal, but yet still you want to take a large sum of the people's money. So we look at that kind of record and determine the person's character, whether that person is somebody that we can really entrust with people's money. Yeah.
You gentlemen keep saying the people's money, and members who may not understand may think, look, they're taking from my money to give to other people. Look, my savings at risk. Help people understand, how does that work?
Well, the cooperative, the credit unions operate a little bit differently from the bank. We've been governed by different rules and regulations. But basically, in the main, a credit union is basically a group of people that with similar interests. In our case, their interest is credit and finance that come together and pool their resources to assist other members. Way back in the olden days, mortgages used to be $10,000 and $20,000 persons used to get, and that was a lot of money back in the day. These days, you can't get a mortgage without spending at least $100,000, $200,000, $300,000. So up to $500,000 for a mortgage. But the reason why the NCCU is as how can I put, as huge as it is now and has grown so much is because every single dollar that a member puts in, it grows, it's multiplied. This money is invested. We give out loans. We give interest on loans and we pay our members interest. So that's why we keep on saying the people's money. It's yours, mine, and everyone listening. It's all money that we have invested in an institution, and the reason why we invest in that institution is that we want everybody that is part of that institution to be better off. So the credit union doesn't want to leave anyone behind. So once you're a member of the institution, you're eligible to get loans and whatever service that the NCCU offers. And it's important that we have, and the credit unions do something that a lot of the banks may have their various programs at certain points in time, but the credit union has a mandate, it has a responsibility to actually educate our members. And that is why we do these things. We have these panel discussions, we have these things. We go to the communities, we reach down to the common man, we go to the shops. No, we have our sports events and we play domino. We reach to the community because the credit union is all of us. So everybody that we interact with is a member of the credit union, and it's your money that is ensuring that the credit union grows and continues to grow. Yeah. So that's why we keep on saying Laja Munla. So, and I'm proud to say that I may have $1 or $2 involved in that somewhere.
Yeah, so while we're trying to encourage people to avoid becoming delinquent and ensuring that they don't fall into these pitfalls, if one does become delinquent, defaults on their loan payment, how does that now impact them from getting future credit?
Becoming delinquent isn't the end of your credit life, because as I said, all of us run into difficulty. I mean, I said I am probably lucky and probably unfortunate too to have experienced a lot of the difficulties that some of our members experience, where you have your little difficulty in probably paying back a loan, or you probably your salary is not as big as you want it to be, and there's so many things that you want to do. How do you achieve those things? And delinquency is a part of the whole credit process. We're encouraging, or we're hoping that our members don't fall into delinquency, and if they do, they get out as quickly as possible. But it's part of the process. But once you've gotten to the point where your loan becomes delinquent, your first duty is to approach the institution and let them know what is happening. Give them your status. You know, so and so, I had some difficulty, I lost my job, or I felt ill, or I cannot work anymore, or something happens and it has affected my ability to service this loan. Okay, what can we do? And then you go from there. But if you sit back and then you become delinquent and you don't approach the institution, and then every day that passes, interest accumulates on that loan, and that's what persons don't realize. So once the delinquency starts and you don't address it right away, you don't nip it in the bud, then at the end of it, you're going to find that you're going to have a bigger problem, and it's going to be more difficult for you to recover. But once you've recovered, then we welcome you with open arms. We encourage you to do more savings. We encourage you to possibly work on that plan that I mentioned, that you can get back yourself in good standing, and you can access more loans at the institution without figuring out that I have to go to other places I would mention, and you're forced to secure higher credit, a credit at a higher rates, because our rates are member friendly rates. So delinquency, as I said, is not the end of your life, but the point about it is that before delinquency becomes terminal, come in to speak to someone at the institution.
Sure. Now let's talk about calculating affordability, and setting realistic expectations from the members' perspective. Can you share some simple tips that one can use to calculate affordability on their own, even before they come to the credit union asking for credit that they may end up being declined for?
All right. Mr. Paul switching this week, but I'll give it a try. First of all, we need to look at what I'm making, how much I'm earning, and from that, how much of what I'm making I'm spending, and based on what I'm spending as it relates to what I'm making, then I can make an analysis of, okay, can I really meet the expectations of that? Like I said initially, some persons sometimes paint pictures that are not really real, and as a result, they find themselves in more problems. But good analysis is what are my expenses as opposed as it compares to my income, and that will tell you whether you can or cannot afford a loan.
And just members that you realize, because for instance, you get your net pay, or you look at your salary slip, and you figure your income is, let's say, 1,005, and after Social Security and tax or whatever, you probably have 1,000 free in your net pay. I'm just using an example. This 1,003 is not the amount of installment that you can pay in loan, and all of us have that misconception. Oh, but look, my balance of my salary after tax and social security, whatever deductions, is 1,000 something I can afford. No. You need to ensure, because you live somewhere, you pay utilities. So what about the light bill? What about the water? You live in, even though you live close to town, but you might have to take a little bus every now and again. What about the transportation? You have a child, or probably you're single. How much food can you eat? You mean 1 pound of rice going to last you for the entire month?
I mean, probably it can work if you're a miser and you really.
It can, probably a greener day, but I've never seen that look before. But I'm saying that when you start, once you've had that 1,000 free, then you start to make provisions for things like your utilities, your transportation, even your health. And I encourage everybody to, look about your health, because a lot of our brothers and sisters, especially our brothers, we don't concentrate on our health. Make sure you have provisions for your health, because health is wealth. And so more pasa por loan. So at the end of it, make sure that you have provisions for all those things. So after you've made all those deductions, then the amount that you're left with, you still have to make an additional deduction. Make time for recreation. Put a little thing aside. Because every now and again, buy a little ice cream, buy a little chocolate,
Yes.
Put a little gas in the car and go somewhere nice, or even go and sit down in the gardens, or if you live in the rural area, go in a garden and take a walk around the community. Make sure you have time for recreation. And after you made all these deductions, then the amount that you have left, then you can decide, you know what? After I've done these provisions, I have probably $300, $350 left. What kind of loan can I afford? Okay, $50 can only get me a certain amount in loan. What do I want to do now? I probably want to go back to school. I probably want to invest in a portion of land. How is that $350 going to assist me to do those things? So that is how planning comes into play. But don't imagine buy $1,400 and then when you go and get the loan and then they take the full $1,400 and you pass a margin, you pass a dummy, you cannot eat an ice cream, and then you fall into delinquency. Is going to be a difficult situation for you. So all those things are things that you need to do whenever you look at your salary, your income, and as Maxime mentioned, your spending, and be practical. Don't give information that you know is not correct. There was a famous thing about Point Michel, but I won't say it. But if you know that you have a commitment in Point Michel, please ensure that you provide for your commitment in Point Michel, and then you can come and consider a loan. Because I want to give you a loan, I want to give you loans, but I want to ensure that when I give you the loan, that you pay me back.
Right.
Yes.
So there are certain habits that one can take to significantly improve their loan eligibility.
Oh yes, for sure, for sure.
And that is taking care of their responsibilities in Point Michel, including other things.
Yes, for sure.
If I should add, just listen to Mr. Paul. It's like a young man wanting to for example, buy a car. It's one thing to have the money for the car, and you can afford, based on you having the money, you can go in and buy the car. But we fail to realize that after I've gotten the car, that doesn't end there. The car is constantly feeding from me. Now, if I don't cater for that part of the equation, then it becomes a problem. Yes, I have the car, but the car is done. Why? Because I can't afford the tires, or I can't afford the gas, or this part goes bad and I can't fix it. You know, so it's one way to have the money, but we have to consider the other factors that come into play.
Someone has a question. So what protections are in place for members to prevent delinquency from spiraling into long-term debt? Or even what protections are available for someone who has defaulted on their loan?
Well, the credit union has, all our loans, we have a thing called loan protection insurance. That is standard with the NCCU. In other places, you have to actually go and get your own personal life insurance policy. But we have loan protection insurance at the NCCU. But even before that kicks in, that normally kicks in in the event of you're untimely death or some other form of disability that prevents you from working. But the main protection that we can offer members for not becoming delinquent, as I said, is not biting off more than you can chew. Again, it goes back to the first thing, having a plan. Don't take funds that you know that you can't pay back or that you do not need. If you do not need the funds, you shouldn't apply for the loan. But if you need the you need the funds, you could phase it out. Take it in stages. If you need $15,000, you can tackle the first $5,000, pay that back over a period of time, and then you could add to the loan. And one thing that the credit union offers, we offer a lot of you can do refinancing of your loans, and sometimes depends on what the situation is, you may be able to refinance at a lower rate. And we also, your savings, we encourage you to save, and the savings that you have attached to the loan, those funds become available to you when the loans are cleared off. And even during the period of the loan, you can come in and get approved withdrawals and those things. But the first protection that we have for members is that we ensure that you take a loan that you can afford, even beyond all the other security that you offer.
Right. We also have measures such as debt consolidation, if that
Debt
becomes
consolidation,
necessary,
to
refinancing.
lower the installment. We can extend your term. Again, if you're experiencing any difficulties, come in and talk to the officer, and then we can tweak your current loan situation to actually suit your circumstances. But if you don't come and talk to us, we won't know. And by the time you come and talk to us, the loan may have probably ballooned out of control, and it's going to be a more difficult process. Not that we can fix it, but it's going to be a more difficult process and a more committed process to actually fix it.
Mm-hmm. Well, gentlemen, we are coming down to the wire.
Already?
Already. It has been a short, wonderful 60 minutes.
More probably talk.
All right. But before we wrap up, if we don't have any other questions from our virtual audience, I would like the gentlemen to share their parting words.
Okay, let me just say, rounding up, that we encourage, like Mr. Paul said, we encourage our members to come in and make use of the loan facility. But having done so, we want to emphasize the fact that, having accessed the loan, please honor your commitment to repay the loan, because that's how we can keep the business moving and growing. I want to encourage persons to come in and speak to the officers, and when you do so, sometimes our members complain that the process is somewhat long, but if you come in not having the necessary documents, then the process can be delayed. So make sure that you have everything that you need, and come in, speak to the officers, and ensure that you are part of the big NCCU. Thank you.
Well, I couldn't have said it any better. I just want to encourage all our members to come into the institution. As I said, we have a loan for every purpose under the sun. We have savings account for every purpose under the sun. Come into the institution, and it's important to talk and share, because the institution can only improve when we get feedback from you, and if we don't get feedback from you, then we can't improve. Our AGM, I just want to plug that in, is coming up very soon. So look out for that. We're going to make the official announcement coming up. And the credit union has some goodies available coming up.
Some goodies. You're going
to make them.
tomorrow morning. You're going to
make them
influx
make
of
them
people
have.
to come.
Well, the goodies could just be a smile, eh? So, but come in and talk to us, and we do like these sorts of engagements, and I'm very happy that our institution is the pioneer in a lot of these activities, reaching out to the members and ensuring that they know about their credit union, because it's our credit union, and we need to ensure that it's protected as much as possible. So thank you again, and good evening.
Thank you for dropping those gems, gentlemen, and sharing such wonderful insights. And today we've learned about unlocking our financial future. And it isn't just about taking loans, it's about understanding, planning, and making informed decisions. So to our audience, we encourage you to take these insights and make better decisions for your financial journey. Thank you for joining us. My name is Idona John Baptist, and before we really wrap up, I'd like to invite Shari to give you some closing remarks.
Closing remarks and a little bit of housekeeping at the same time. All right, so I want to say thank you to everybody, of course, for tuning in and for making Loan Education Day a success. It's not over. This was just, like I said, we were winding down. It is not over yet. Please check out our social media pages. There's one more post for the day that is going to show up, and it will include a chance to win. A chance to win what? A chance to win something from your community financial partner. Mr. Paul is putting his hands up saying, I told you.
Yeah.
So a chance to win will be posted on our page. Keep it locked to DBS Radio and Emonews, but keep it locked to NCCU. You know, it sounds like I'm saying keep it locked to a radio station, but keep it locked to NCCU as well. Guys, there's a lot more to come from your NCCU. Look out for everything that we have coming up. There are many more activities that will be happening. We have financial literacy courses and sessions planned with the schools. We have them planned with the members. There's so many things. And Mr. Paul did let the cat out of the bag, but there are some loans that are being looked at, revamped. Just like the education loan was revamped, there are some loans that we're looking at. So we're listening. We are definitely listening. We will continue to listen and bring the best to the membership. Guys, this is it for us on this channel. Check out our Facebook and Instagram page for the very last bit of Loan Education Day. Thank you very much for staying tuned with us.